Resident Evil Requiem is a fantastic game. It's two games in one. And what do I mean by that? Well, this new Resident Evil blends the horror and survival genres with the action of a third-person shooter, and the mix is excellent. Resident Evil Requiem features two protagonists, Grace and of course Leon Scott Kennedy. They differ not only in their personalities, but Capcom also had the brilliant idea of diversifying the gameplay between these two characters. With Grace, the gameplay returns to its horror and survival roots, and sections controlling the FBI agent remind me a lot of Resident Evil 7. With Leon, the gameplay is pure action, baby. It's very similar a lot of his adventure in the Spanish village in Resident Evil 4. With this gameplay dynamic, Resident Evil Requiem combines the aspects that have made this video game saga so great. A saga that, with this game, celebrates 30 years of scaring players, while also entertaining us with its adventures. One of the most striking aspects of this game was the announcement of the story's return to the mythical and infamous Raccoon City. And I can't deny that the city's inclusion struck a chord of nostalgia in me. Well, speaking about the story and without giving any spoilers, I think it's interesting, but for me it lacks the essence of the first three games. I believe that Capcom has never been able to recapture that captivating narrative of the originals. The stories of Grace and Leon are intertwined. Grace is being pursued by a group led by a scientist who worked with Lord Spencer, the head of the former Umbrella corporations of the first three games. Meanwhile, Leon wants to completely eradicate any remaining threat of the T-virus in the world, and for some reason, he's suffering the effects of this deadly pathogen himself. He's infected. Although the story isn't the best in the series, incorporating lore from the Raccoon City events gives it the boost that, for me personally, was missing in the Resident Evil 7 and Village, respectively. Those two installments stray too far from the roots of the Resident Evil, in my opinion. The gameplay is superb, no matter which section you are in, whether with Grace or Leon. The on-screen character controls is intuitive and precise. Capcom's developers decided to offer the option of playing it in first or third person with either character, but they recommend the following. They advise playing with Grace in first person, since her sections are survival horror, and this first person perspective enhances the feeling of fear in those sections. And with Leon, Capcom's developers recommend playing in third person, since the series veteran uses a lot of melee combat and focuses on action. And you know what? Capcom is right. I felt more fear in the first person with Grace, and the action feels more comfortable in third person with Leon. I play the main story on modern normal difficulty, which allows you to save without using the famous ink ribbons. Even though I play on normal, I found the encounters a bit easy and died a very few times. I was a little disappointed with the boss fights, as they are very short and easy to defeat. I miss the bosses from Resident Evil 4 and 5, those were the bosses. The combat with Grace is minimal. She's more of an FBI data detective, so her skill with weapons is limited. But she has her tricks up her sleeve. She can distract enemies with empty bottles and is an expert at crafting useful items. She can shoot, but ammunition is scarce, although Grace defends herself very well. She's very brave in her situation. I be in the corner crying like a baby, waiting for the beautiful Ada Wong to come and rescue me. The combat with Leon is a frenzy of fun and blood. The guy is a nuclear tank, man. No enemy is a threat to the 50-something Leon. From a pistol to the infamous chainsaw, yeah baby, the very one that terrifies us in Resident Evil 4. My favorite weapon is the 990 TAC shotgun, which is inspired by the real-life Mossberg 990. With this beauty, not even the fearsome leakers stood a chance. The weapons can be upgraded and improved. It wasn't hard to get almost all of them to their maximum level. But the weapon that steals the show and everyone's attention is the Requiem, the same name as the Resident Evil game. Requiem is a Latin word meaning rest or repose. The Requiem pistol in the game is based on the real-life RSH-12, a Russian 5-round revolver with a 12.7mm caliber that destroys everything it touches. And of course, exploration is key, especially in the parts of the game where you control Grace. In many cases, you have to backtrack to places you already visited. For some, this might be boring, but for me, it's fun and addictive. Hey, and do you remember the Baker family? Mr. Baker and Mrs. Marguerite chasing you through this old house? Well, in Requiem, they will have special creatures stalking you throughout the levels, an aspect that increases the tension of the adventure, mostly in Grace's sections. The visuals of Requiem are spectacular. Everything is a feast for the eyes. A beautiful video game that runs smoothly on my PlayStation 5. The zombies' movements look realistic and each of one has distinct personality. They are not all a copy-paste of one another like the antique games. A warning for those with sensitive stomachs, the game is extremely explicit in its violence. The amount of blood on screen is equivalent to the elevator scene in The Shining. And the sound design is so good it'll make you bark like a dog, brother. Especially in Grace's sections where even the dripping water from a broken pipe sends shivers down your spine. Resident Evil Requiem is a AAA game in all its glory. An adventure that doesn't need multiplayer or to be a live service with episodes to offer great content. Capcom continues its golden age, producing high-quality, entertaining, and interesting games on and on. Many have criticized the game's pacing, arguing that Grace's and Leon's sections aren't properly spaced out during the adventure. I disagree, and I think these character changes are well separated. Others have criticized the adventure's length, claiming it's too short. I couldn't disagree more. I finished the game in 14 hours and obsessively explored the environments. Even I read all the lore scattered throughout the game. I find that a satisfying length, and I don't believe all games need to be 30 hours or more to be good. I highly recommend Resident Evil Requiem, a game that offers two for the price of one and leaves no one indifferent. Bravo Capcom, you've done it again. Okie dokie. Thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best in life. Until next time.